Hello, welcome to Kids Art Tour Launch Week. This week, I have my classes open for the rest of the school year. I teach kids art classes, homeschooling kids art classes for the whole school year because you need an art. And so it's going to start in September and we're going to go till June. If you want to stay on with me, I have some summer classes for you. So I'm going to give you an overview of what classes are going to be like. And tonight, I'm going to share with you how we got started, and then how we stopped, and then we got started again. And interweaving in that is my credentials for teaching art. Well, not everything I've done, but just gives you an overview of the years of experience that I have teaching art, doing art. I'm a working artist. I paint in oil, and I've basically been doing that since college. I have my master's in art. So I was showing you a little picture show of all the things that I've done, and then we'll go into how classes started. So also, tonight the bonus goes away. If you are joined by midnight tonight, I will give you, well, I'm going to show you in just a minute. I'm going to show it to you in just a minute. I'll give you a bonus. So you're going to want to get in tonight if you think you're going to join. Join tonight. Why wait? I already have 13 students. My teen class is full. So full that I don't have a great spot to sit. This is kind of a small room. I can only fit so many kids in. So stay on the list. If you wanted an in-person teen class, stay on the list because sometimes we have cancellations. And if enough people are really wanting a teen class, I will see if I can squeeze it into my life. I hate it turning away people. I've already had to turn one mom away, but told her to just hang on because sometimes things happen and people have to cancel. So hold out hope. There's also the online option. We will be on Zoom online. I can see your kids. We can talk to each other. I have a document camera that points down at my table and they can see everything that I'm doing. So it really works out well. There's pros and cons to both. Online works really, really well for the kids to be able to see what I'm doing. And we can interact just like we do normally. We can do some things on the screens that I can't do in person. In person is its own set of pros and cons as well. So I don't think either one is better or worse than the other. So if you wanted in-person teen class, the online option is there for you. So let me get into this and we'll get started and I will just kind of tell you briefly about it. Also, if you hang on to the very end, I have a sneak peek for you for the September class. Every month, this first one's going to go into the second month because we only have a couple weeks in September. So every month I will be sending out supplies. And when I do, I'm going to make them really beautiful. And I'm going to show you the theme for September and a beautiful little sneak peek picture. So you have to wait to the end. All right. So this is launch week. We're going from the 18th, which was yesterday, to the 22nd. The cart closes Saturday night at midnight because I need to order supplies. I need to know how many students I have, and I have to cut it off. And I need time to pull all that together, fill the boxes, order things. I need to know how much to order and get the boxes out and prepare for in-person classes. So that's why we're shutting things down Saturday night. So if you know you're going to go ahead and subscribe, do it tonight, then you get the bonus, which I will talk about in just a second. Let me go to my other page here. Hold on. Okay, here we are. So today, as I said before, we're going to talk about how Kids Art Tour began and ended and began again. It's a story of intrigue and drama. Kids Art Tour, as I said, art lessons for the year. This is for the school year. You won't have to worry about it. Your kids will be locked in. You won't have to worry about filling things in. I will take care of the art class. I will take care of the art history, the art projects. And if you are online or on demand, I will send you the supplies. Now that wouldn't include like simple art supplies that you would already have on hand, like scissors and glue and things like that. Crayons, I don't know if we'd be using crayons, but things that you wouldn't normally get, things that everyone would probably need in the class, I will send them to you, okay? So it's a monthly membership. You pay monthly, and how that works, because we do have um, holidays. I'm taking a trip, and I also try to align it with the school system that's up here, where they have um, their weeks of vacation, like the summer week and the winter break and those things. I try to kind of correlate all of that together. So we may have a month with two classes, and then followed by a month with five, which I think September and October like that. I don't want your payments to be all over the place, and you need your budget. You need to know what the budget is for every month, and so do I. So what I did was I multiplied the cost for each class times how many classes we're having, and then I put it across the 10 months, September to June. So it's the same. And then when we go into the summer boxes, it will drop down to the on-demand price, because summer will be a shipped box to everybody along with video lessons. So it will be on demand for summer. And I think that's perfect because everyone's off, vacations here and there. Maybe your kids are taking other art camps. Some weeks you're busier than others, and it's really hard to stay with a regular thing. So this would be self-paced. And I'm going to have like a big like a project that your child can just work on, be working on and having fun with. So it will be video lessons and art supplies and just something fun for the kids to do when they need to be busy, but at their pace, and we'll go with the flow of your schedule. Um, I've added on demand this year. We're doing in person. I teach in Horseheads, New York. I have a classroom in my home, which is where I am right now. I also teach live online. So we would be on Zoom. I can talk to your kids. They can talk to me. They can see what I'm doing on my table here. And it's really great. I have a great group of kids, and I show them slides. So the handouts I would give to my in-person class, and then I send them to my online class, but I put them up on the screen and we can talk about them. And it's just really good. I think it works out really well. And I've added on demand this year, which will be perfect for if your kid is in regular school and cannot come to our lives, or if you need a lower cost option. Your child will receive access to the recordings from our online class. So they'll be able to watch the kids. Will not be able to interact with them. You lose the live part, but you'll also get the supplies. So those are your options. I also have two age ranges, and one of the questions usually is it the same? The kids will be getting the same information, same type of lesson, same information, probably same handouts, but I will tailor the art projects. If the younger kids need something a little different, we'll do that. Sometimes they'll be exactly the same. So everyone's getting the same, kind of the same thing, but geared toward their age. And as I said, supplies are included. It can't be easier. Now, this year we're doing illustration and illustrators. So there will be suggestions for checking books out from the library, which will really help, because some of the things we're covering are still copyrighted, and it's not legal for me to show it on a recorded screen. So there may be times where, well, every month I will probably have suggestions for checking books out from the library, because it's an illustration class. So there's going to be reading and illustration, and they'll need to be looking at these books, which hopefully they'll just love. So there'll be suggestions, but then there'll be weeks you definitely need to check out a book or two. And I'll let you know that in the box. It'll be a card right there, so you'll have some time to figure that out. So then supplies are included. So here's just another graphic for the format options if it's hard for you to visualize. So here, obviously in person, online, and on demand is the video playing. Now, in person and live online will also have access to the recordings. I find it very helpful if kids get sick, have to miss, or you're taking a vacation, you missed your class, you have access to the lesson and the whole class, basically. You can watch us work. So that way you're still connected. You don't really miss the class. You don't miss the information. So I'm finding that really, really helpful, because stuff happens. Kids get sick, especially the winter time, or you want to go on vacation. That's why you homeschool, so you can have the flexibility. It's really helpful to have those online lessons so they won't miss the information, can watch whenever you want. I will have them. We're probably going to do a Google Classroom. That's what we did last year. I'd like to do something on the website, but I'm still learning the website. I'm building it as we speak. So until then, we will have it on a Google Classroom, and I will just have the files for the videos there, and you can watch it right there online. And it'll be easy and an easy place to have it. I think that's everything for this one. Again, if you have any questions, if this is like confusing at all, just shoot me an email or message me on Facebook. There's a contact link on the website at the top. Like I said, supplies are included. I ship out these lovely boxes with all the fun stuff inside. I also have a nice notebook usually for the kids. I think I have mine here. This is the summer one. It was a bit extensive. I get a little geeked out on information. I'll show you here. 8 weeks of classes, and this is the thickness of the notebook that they have, and I need to add 2 more classes into my notebook. So if that gives you an idea of the amount of information that your child is going to receive, let me just flip through. We went to museums each week. There's the Louvre, and we talked about things that were in the museum. We talked about museum flow, colors, the journey, and then some special things in each museum. As we talked about Impressionist art, we are 2 weeks from finishing. So this was really fun to put together, a lot of work and a lot of information for your kids. So I'm really heavy on information and output based on that information. The kids don't know they're learning now. All right, let me go back. The bonus. Here is the bonus. I have these really beautiful canvas posters, canvas prints, I guess they are. I've got these 3 here. I'm going to pick one for your child. I am looking into getting some Van Goghs as well. So there might be a little bit different than what you see here exactly. But I have them here actually. Let me show them to you. So we have Monet's Water Lilies. You see their canvas. And they're 9 by 11. So you can mat them. And it's a nice size. It's not tiny, but it doesn't take up a ton of space, which I think is good for the kids' room. And then we have this one. This is on the Seine. The Seine near Giverny is his property where he lived and made his garden that you see in his paintings. This one right here, and his pond. And then we have this one, this really cool ship one. Okay, I told the group last night what was so special about this one, but I'll tell it to you. This was the painting that got the Impressionists called the Impressionists. This is the painting that got them their names. So they were getting rejected by all the salons, all the exhibitions. They didn't like the Impressionist movement because if you saw the artwork before this was like polished and perfect, it was like Instagram pictures, picture perfect. And these guys just wanted to paint real life, what was happening around them, and they focused on color and light, and that was important to them, not hiding their brushstrokes. Well, this was just like awful to people who were used to the other things. So they put a show together. They're like, well, if nobody wants us, then we'll put a show together, just us. And an art critic came by, and he called this an impression, and it was meant as an insult. Well, it stuck. So from then on, they started to become the Impressionist. So this is called the Sunrise, Impression Sunrise. And I think the impression word there is because of that. So anyway, this is a very special painting. If your child gets this one, make sure you tell them the story. If you don't, I will. I'll make sure they know. Oop. All right, well, let's go back. Okay, so I think we're going to start the story now. Yes. Okay, so interweaving with this of how Kids Art Tour got started, I want to share a little bit about myself so you know who I am. And you can tell the journey I've been through art, and I have many years of experience doing this. So this was right after I graduated with my master's. I got this huge commission, And if you happen to vacation in the Turks and Caicos Islands, you will see this in the, oh, I can't remember. It's in one of the resorts. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh well. I made it look old. They wanted it to look old, so I put this really cool stuff on it to make the paint crack, and I put paint in the crack so you could see the cracks themselves. So it was really cool. Um, Royal West Indies. Yeah, Royal West Indies Resort in Turks and Caicos. So there it is behind their counter. My claim to fame. I will probably never be able to vacation there, but my painting went. So I was like, oh, 20 when I did that. I got married, I moved to New Jersey, and this was my studio in the very front of the house, full of windows. So I had to work on different still lifes at different times because I was at the whimsy and the will of the weather. I had a still life for sunshine, I had a still life set up for the cloudy days, and then I had a still life set up for, let's see, oh no, I took that one out, for the evening. So I would have lights on it. And here I am painting. I'm so young. There. Oh, there's the one at nighttime. That was actually watercolor or acrylic. It wasn't oil for sure. And this was crazy. We were moving out. We were leaving this house in New Jersey, and I had a lady, she was a wonderful lady, who commissioned me to paint her Yellowware. And so I was painting this big painting. You can't really see the size of the painting itself, of her Yellowware collection while we're packing up to leave. It was quite an adventure. Here's my new studio, which is actually the room I'm in right now. So setting up, and you see my very faithful studio dog. This is Zoe. And if your kids take classes in person, you will be able to see her and give her pets. She loves the kids. She's very sweet, and she sleeps during class. So she greets you, checks everybody in. There she is again. Her hair's a little longer right now. She needs a haircut. Oh, I got into a magazine, the Artist magazine. So there's my little painting there. And then this was the day I went to have prints made of my work. So they did high-res scans, and there are the prints. So then started my teaching. Although I was teaching before this, I just couldn't find the pictures. But these are homeschool students. I had them in my living room. Oh, my living room isn't this color anymore. It's very light now. This was back in 2017 or 2010 or so, more like 17, when the Tuscan colors were really in. I feel like I have to explain the colors. But I had these wonderful homeschool kids, stayed with me the whole year. We did drawing. We did projects, very similar projects to the ones I did in college. I taught them drawing and shading, and we drew each other, and they had big projects to do. I also taught oil painting in my living room. And then I started teaching at 171 Cedar Arts, which if you're not in the area, it's an art center. They do all kinds of things. They have a beautiful gallery in the downstairs area, and then upstairs is classes for kids and adults. So I started teaching the kids, and I'll tell you, I really have never been like teaching crafts type of person. I just really liked fine art stuff, and I just wanted to stay with that. But they needed somebody, and I also needed to work. So I tried it, and I found when I paired art history and art appreciation with the making of art, when I did that, that really did it for me. That made it click, and I loved it. And they enjoyed it, and they were learning and building on their knowledge and making connections with other movements and artists. And there was a lot of learning and a lot of fun at the same time. And it just became very special. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I felt like I was making a difference, and these kids were enjoying the art. So that's kind of where it started. So I did a lot of classes with them. This was their window with Frank Lloyd Wright's windows, and so we made our own windows. Oh yeah, you can see it down here. Frank Lloyd Wright. I also did drawing classes with adults and painting classes. I did a lot of classes there. And then I started teaching this group, which I still teach them. They're a group of retired artists. They are people who are retired. Some of them were artists before, and some of them started doing art after they retired. So I meet with them every week, um, and they bring their artwork, and I just help them with whatever medium they are working in. And throughout the year, we'll have lessons before I go around the table and help them with whatever they're working on. So I'm constantly teaching them every week. Then I decided maybe I should start something myself. And so that's when Kids Art Tour got started. It started with us going live online every week. It was like every Friday on Facebook and just giving the kids a little fun lesson. And then they got to do something with whatever they had on hand, markers, pencils, crayons, things like that. So I kept the lessons like just really simple in that way. And they really enjoyed it. And, they needed something art wise to do each week. So then I'm like, maybe I should do boxes, subscription boxes. So I stumbled up on a coach for that and she helped me do it. And this was the day we sent out our first subscription box. I did the launch like I'm doing right now. And then I got students and let's say I had 6 families and looks like 7, 8, 9 students. Yeah. And we sent them out and it was the Japan box. And you can see how much fun I had making it beautiful and special for the kids. And I will be doing that for your kids now as I give them their boxes. Now, I sent them out late January. My heat went out and we have hot water heat in the baseboards. And then the temperature dipped below 0 for a couple nights in a row. And my pipes froze and burst. And when the temperature went down, we flooded. And I had no idea that the room I'm in right now and next to me, which was my studio, was flooding over the weekend. I came in on a Monday to get to work and I got all the water and the soppiness and it ran all the way back into my living room and we had just started. So there's the pipe. It was one of the low points in my life. Everything had to be moved out of these rooms. We had a shipping container next to our house and almost everything we owned in the downstairs, aside from the kitchen, had to go in there. And then we were doing school too. So I had to go in there to find things. It was not a great experience, but we had to pause everything and I couldn't keep up with the boxes. There was no way. I didn't have anywhere to be. Everything was in storage. I couldn't do it. So quickly, Kids Art Tour started and almost immediately had to stop. And I felt embarrassed and sad. And it was just a really hard time. It took a long time to get these rooms together, but I did it. So that is a picture of the room next to me, which is now my art studio. So that is after everything got taken out. Before I did the walls, I painted everything in there. I painted the trim, the walls, the ceiling. I did it all. And it took me a very long time. And then the room looked like this. That is the same window there. And at this point, I was really focused on my fine art because that's what I had at the time. And I remember, I don't know if you've ever had one of these shower ideas. They're like the best. You are just thinking and your brain gets to wander. And I just asked myself, what is the dream? What do I really want? I can't really have it right now, but what do I want? What is the thing? And every time I drive by a storefront, I envision me in there with whatever, my gallery, with art classes and things like that. And I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know if I'll ever do that because I do like working out of my house. And then I was like, well, what if that was my house? So the big dream was like on a Market Street or something, a cute little street, Main Street. I have my shop, which is a storefront, which is my art classes for kids. I have fine art classes for adults. In the back is my beautiful studio where I'll be painting. And then I live upstairs. Like that is the dream. I don't know if I'll ever get there. Maybe by the time I'm able to get there, I'll be on to something else. But that was the dream. And so I was just thinking, okay, obviously I cannot just go out and do that right now. What can I do? Well, I had this room. It was full of boxes at the time. And I can't remember what, I think it was January, when I just, okay, do I want to do this again? Yeah, I can have kids in here. I've done it before. I'm going to do it again. And so I got this room all ready to go, emptied the boxes out of the room. And I started off with, it was in the middle of the year. So no one's going to sign up for a lot. So I just did little short classes, 6 weeks here, 6 weeks there, and just started getting some students. And then for the summer, I did week-long summer classes. So this is the room I'm in right now. You've probably seen some pictures of it. This was my very first sketching class that we did. I also made space for some oil painting classes in this room. I also did some family paint classes. This was a Mother's Day little event that we did in here. And then this past year, for the whole year, I provided art classes again for homeschooling students. It was a drawing course. We worked through drawing from life, shading, and then we delved into some other mediums like pen and ink and charcoal and things like that. So it was a lot of fun for me. I think the kids enjoyed it because they still came and they're coming still. So I've had some good responses, but it was very heavy on the fine art. So I am taking a bit of a deviation and have since. So here are some of the things that we've done. Right now, we are doing these little miniature paintings. We're doing the Impressionist class. I think I showed you, I can't remember. And so we're doing the stained glass. I've done the watercolor landscape class. This was just something little fun that we did. I love making miniatures things. And then there's definitely learning, shadow sides, how to do trees, things like that. Things that can be difficult or intimidating. And in June, I did a Japanese patterns and design class, which was super fun. I loved this one. So we learned some ancient Japanese patterns, saw them in some ancient artwork. We made ceramics and these tiles and did the patterns on the tiles and everything. And then the big finale was they got to create their Japanese shop and name it. And then they made a collection of items. I had watercolor paper with these little line drawings, and they were able to paint on top of them and use the patterns that we had learned. So really, really enjoyed that class. This is what we're doing right now. We're making museums. That's why we're talking about museums so much. And I've got these cute little frames, and all the artwork is going to go in the frames, and we're going to put them up. Okay, you have made it through all my big talking and my slideshow. Did you ever have the grandparents come back from a vacation and they put the sheet up, a white sheet up on the wall and the projector, and then you sat through a slideshow of them telling you about their vacation and about people that you didn't know? So thanks for my version. You sat through my version of my slideshow of my life. So now you get to see the sneak peek. So this is a very closed up, full of hints, peek of what I'm going to be sending out to your kids in just a few weeks this September. Okay, you can see a few things here. Definitely painting. We've got paints here. And I didn't show you everything, but moms, you probably know what artist this is and what we're going to be looking at for the next, I think it'll be 3 weeks. It's going to go 2 weeks in September and 1 week in October. And we've got some fun fabrics and colors and brushes. Now, this item, do not be nervous. It's not a blade. It just has a nice point on it because it will help us do all these little special lines. It's a very, very cool thing that I didn't know about till I went to college. And I'm going to do, I have a plan. I'm going to try to get one for your kids. So that is the plan, unless something crazy happens. Um, but I found a place that I can get them, and I'm really, really excited about it. And they're not going to be plastic. I had a hard time finding ones that were metal. They were all plastic, so that was the hard part. So I'm going to give them this really cool tool that hopefully they will really enjoy. It's like one of my favorite things to have on hand. So we're going to be talking about this particular artist for the next 3 weeks. And we've got some fun projects. The fabric are for the little kids, although I might just stick some in for the big kids if they want to do what we do. So yeah, there you go. Sneak peek. It will be beautiful and it will be fun and they will love it. We will also be reading a lot of literature as we go along because we're illustrating stories. Okay. So maybe in the next couple live streams, I will go in a little more detail on all the things that we're going to be doing. But just rest assured, we're going to be having fun, but there's also some definitely important things they're going to be learning. We're going to talk about cover art, end pages, which are the inside of the book, things they need to be looking for and to know when they're reading a passage to illustrate. And then there's the art aspect of it. So let's wrap up. So tomorrow night, I am doing another live stream. I've done this before, but it's a good refresher, especially if you haven't seen it yet. Exploring art with your kids. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on your trips to museums. How do you take your kid to a museum or a gallery? How can you make it memorable? How can you make it profitable in intellectual and learning ways? So things to ask, things to discuss, things to look for. So I'm going to just give you a lot of ideas that you can just implement easily on your trips. It doesn't even have to be going to a museum. It's just how to bring art and observation into your daily life. Friday, 1 p.m., I will be teaching a little art lesson. So bring your kids. And I haven't quite narrowed down what we're doing, but it will just be something with things you have on hand. Paper and I'm probably markers. I'm narrowing it down a little bit. So it'll be something you should have on hand. And if you don't have that, then you can do a substitute. Like I'm sure that crayons or colored pencils will be fine. So join me for a lesson with your kids. And then Saturday, we're going to have a wrap up early in the morning because I am going out after that. I have to do some things and I had to make this early in the morning. Saturday is our last day to get in on the membership. I will not be opening it back up for quite a while. So I don't want you to miss out. I don't want your kids to miss out. So kidsarttour.com. And then you clicky on We Want Art Lessons. And hopefully every question you might have would be answered there. If not, contact me. There's a contact link at the top. You can also message me on Facebook as well. And I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Don't forget, tonight is your last night with the bonus. Okay, midnight, it goes away. And only those who are registered by tonight at midnight will get it. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again at later live streams. So, and I hope to see your kids. That would be wonderful. So I think that's it. Have a lovely evening. Let me put myself back out here. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you later. Let me know if you need anything. I'll be happy to help you out. All right. Bye.